What if the moon was 10 times brighter than it is? If you have looked at the night sky when it is dark, you will notice that the moon gives us a soothing and calm light that is neither too bright nor too dim. But what would happen if this light got 10 times brighter? What effects would that have on earthly life? Let's find out what would happen if the moon got 10 times brighter. You see the full brightness of the moon only on clear nights. Its distinct light illuminates the night and guides us. Without a doubt, the nights without the moon are much more dark and gloomy. However, have you ever thought about what actually contributes to our moon's brightness? How does our moon shine, and what contributes to its brightness? We learned in school that the moon doesn't produce any light on its own. The moon is entirely composed of rock, so any light we see is a reflection of the sun. Since the moon is approximately 238,900 miles from Earth, it wouldn't even be visible to us if the sun's rays weren't reflecting off of it. The moon's brightness, however, is also impacted by this distance. When it is closer to Earth, it does shine a little bit brighter, but this is usually not very noticeable. A supermoon occurs when the moon is at a perigee and it's in full phase. Now, at its typical distance from Earth, a supermoon might look up to 16% brighter than a full moon. Therefore, it is clear to us that the light that we see coming from the moon at night is actually just a reflection of the sun's rays that reach the moon's surface. But what exactly contributes to the brightness that we see from Earth? It's what it is made up of. The moon is composed of dark gray basalt and dull gray anorthosite. However, when seen from the Earth's surface, it looks brilliantly white. Man has landed on the moon, and we have found that it has varied geographical terrains on its surface. It's got mountains, valleys, trenches, and craters due to its history of meteor impacts. This, however, affects the manner in which it reflects the sun's light. Additionally, the dark rocks that make up the moon also absorb this brightness. In actuality, only approximately 12% of the light that reaches the surface of the moon is reflected, of which only 10% gets to our planet. The rest is scattered in space. So here's what would happen if the moon was 10 times brighter. First, the moon would need to reflect twice as much as it can in order to shine 10 times brighter. In comparison to now, the nights would be brighter, which implies that it would interfere with the sleep cycles of all nocturnal creatures. Even we would be unsure of when to go outside and when it was okay to eat or sleep because we would all be confused about the proper times. People who reside in and around the North and South Poles already deal with this experience for months on end, so it wouldn't have much of an effect on them. The sun would be shining brightly above us during the day. Additionally, the moonlight would become so intense during the night that there might not even be a night. If you wanted to use a telescope at night to view the stars, it couldn't be done, because the significantly brighter light of the moon would make this impossible. For the moon to shine 10 times brighter, it would also be emitting heat as well, since it would be able to reflect more sunlight and heat than it can currently. This means that the nights wouldn't be cooler anymore. The temperatures during the night would surely rise and would likely melt the polar ice caps faster than they are melting now. With melting ice caps, the sea levels would rise, so islands like Fiji, Hawaii, and other coastal areas would be underwater. Anyone living in coastal areas would have to find better ways to live. A sport like skiing would not be possible anymore unless the slopes were artificially made. For astronauts, it would be harder to land on the moon. Just think about the workers working on the International Space Station. They would need to find a new place to dock because the moon would be too bright to bear considering how close they are to it. The moon would unquestionably need to be larger and would have a greater gravitational pull on the Earth if it were to become brighter. The new size of the moon would have a significant impact on how people live. The entire orbit structure would change, which would have an impact on the other celestial bodies in outer space. Soon, planets would start revolving around the moon, and if that occurred, the Earth might move farther from the sun. The drastic changes in gravity would require a complete readjustment of everything. A weak gravitational field would result in a foundationless structure that would eventually collapse. Large monuments and bridges would not be able to support themselves. People wouldn't be able to walk correctly, and even if they could, it would be in a very odd way. In many of these scenarios we've mentioned, we've made the moon shine brighter. But let's not forget that the moon does not have light of its own. We've previously said that in order for the moon to shine brighter, it must reflect the sun's light. In this case, the sun would have to grow larger than it currently is. And if the sun grew larger, it would emit more potentially harmful rays. Now, this comes with an increase in radiation that would be harmful to every living thing on Earth. Additionally, planets would be drawn out of their orbits due to the increased gravitational pull of a larger sun. This too would cause problems across the solar system. As for the Earth, since conditions would become hotter and drier than before, this would present a great risk to everything on Earth. And lastly, what would happen if the moon grew brighter? We would experience a high tide every day, and it would be continuous. Every coastal town would experience flooding because of how extreme it would be. Islands would all be underwater, increasing the population of inland cities. With water engulfing the land, marine life would likely thrive. Both boats and submarines would need to be redesigned for the new conditions. Air travel would take precedence, but massive cruise ships would also likely take on a futuristic appearance and extra construction to withstand the rough seas. On typical days, nighttime would be fairly bright. As a result of the increase in global temperature and the melting of the ice caps, sea levels would rise even further. We would also always have to look up whenever we go outside because comets and other celestial objects would be drawn closer due to the gravitational pull. But you'd be surprised to learn that the moon appears to shine brighter than it actually does. And this is bad for us. You must understand something called radiation if you're wondering why. All of the light that the sun emits contains radiation, which is why it is referred to as solar gamma radiation. In contrast to the sun, the moon does not have a magnetic field surrounding it. All of the cosmic rays, which are essentially high-energy radiation, are directed directly at the surface of the moon. The majority of cosmic rays are protons that have been accelerated by some of the most potent events in the universe, such as the blast waves from exploding stars and the jets produced when matter falls into black holes. The result is the explosion of gamma rays, which are invisible to the unaided eye. Why are gamma rays bad? Gamma rays may illuminate the moon all year long, but they present a serious risk to any lunar explorer planning a surface landing. The Apollo astronauts are already suffering from a higher than average mortality rate due to cardiac issues, and this is not your typical case of heart disease either. A report in Scientific Reports claims that it was brought on by exposure to radiation from space. According to the research, exposure to cosmic radiation damages a person's DNA and reduces the body's ability to heal itself. By examining the radiation levels on the moon, NASA, which plans to send humans into space in 2024, will be able to improve the shielding. Gamma radiation is also the reason why experts doubt if we will ever be able to create a safe human home on another planet. Although the moon gets its glow from the sun, many other factors play into the moon's intensity in the sky. We're lucky to have a neighbor so close by that we can admire and enjoy its light when it helps illuminate an otherwise dark night. So let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe to our channel for more content like this, and press that bell icon to never miss an upcoming update. Thank you for watching.